All right, and welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. As the Washington Commanders have done it, they beat the Detroit Lions 45-31, advancing to the NFC Championship for the first time since 1991. Yes, it was good to see with the Washington Commanders. Let's go ahead and jump into the recap and really, just the key takeaways from this football game, because I tell you what, this was a great team win for the Washington Commanders. And look, I know we're going to talk about Jaden Daniels, but let's talk about the defense. I think defensively, this was probably the best maybe 60 minutes that I've seen from our defense. And I've talked about the defense really heating up over the last couple of weeks, talked about how they've really tightened up against the run, especially in the second half. And the Washington Commanders defense, I think, was outstanding. I think that there were several times during this game that they were able to really set the edge against the Detroit Lions. And were they perfect every time? Absolutely not. But they did it more times than not. And I think that they got the Detroit Lions to really think about it. Even though they rushed for 201 yards, it was the ability to get the stops when necessary. And the Washington Commanders, they created a lot of negative plays. And so I think that that was huge for us today. The Washington Commanders, their ability to go out and create negative plays. And so also on the back end with the defense. And so how about Mikey Sainristil? And so talked about Mikey Sainristil. I really love the way that he's gotten better each game out. And I think that you can honestly say that Mikey Sainristil is a player that if you have to leave him on an island, I think he can make the plays. Talked about how he can come up in the run support. He was huge with 2 interceptions today. And then, we also had a terrific interception from Quan Martin, which led to a touchdown. Perhaps it was a penalty there on the play with the hit against Jared Goff. But, hey, they got their penalty back on a face mask that wasn't really there when they were driving back, I think in the third or fourth quarter. And so anyway, that was great defense. And just really, just our ability to create pressure up front. Throughout this entire game, Jared Goff was extremely, I think, uncomfortable because one, he was having to play catch up, behind the Commanders the entire game because Jaden Daniels and the offense really kept scoring points. They kept putting pressure on that offense to keep up. And so that was good to see. But Jared Goff, when you start to pressure him, he is not a player that is going to get outside the pocket and really hurt you with his legs. And I think it cost him. I think that there were times where he threw into some coverage, and that obviously led to some interceptions today. And so terrific, I think, to start off with the defense. I just think that they were fabulous. Marshawn Lattimore, you could definitely tell he looked a lot better than he's looked even when he came back in that Saints game. I think that this might have been the best I've seen from Marshawn Lattimore on the back end of things. He was physical, hitting people out there. He had a very good breakup at the start of the game. And so Marshawn Lattimore, look, I expect for him to get even better. And so great for the defense. Look, they were terrific. So next up, the offense. And so starting with Jaden Daniels. Look, Jaden Daniels, what else can you say about him? He is that guy. He's different, man. 22 of 31, 299, 9.6 average, but 2 touchdowns. And I think let's start with just the composure of Jaden Daniels, really, because he never got rattled. Even when we had missed on our first 4th down conversion, Jaden Daniels continues to stay poised. And I love the fact that he kept the offense on schedule, right? We ran only like a couple huddle sets where we were in the huddle, but for the most part, it was like a kind of a scattered huddle where we really never huddled up. He's making a lot of hand signs and signals and getting players in the right direction. So I think he was terrific in doing that. And you could just tell that everybody was on the same page today. So his composure was great. And just the offense in general, just really, they took control of the game as far as the pace is concerned. In fact, when we look at the time of possession, yet again, the Washington Commanders win that 33-59 to the Detroit Lions 26-01. Talked about this in the pregame, how that is super important for the Washington Commanders to really lead in that stat. And if they do, generally that turns out to be a good thing. And so next, aside from Jayden Daniels and just his composure and really his ability to, I think, just make some great throws down the field, starting with Dyami Brown. And so, look, Dyami Brown might have had one of the best catches in this game. In fact, Jayden Daniels lets the ball rip down the field. It was a huge play, but what's very impressive about it is literally the defender had his hand into Dyami Brown's face mask to where he really couldn't see it, but the ball was thrown so well, it literally dropped down into Dyami Brown's hand. Like, Jayden Daniels dropped it into the bucket. It was a fabulous throw, fabulous catch. And once again, Dyami Brown coming up big for 6 receptions, 98 yards, 16.3 average on 8 targets today. And can't say enough about how he continued to really press the secondary and take the lid off of the defense. And so I know coming out of college, one thing that he did do was he was a great catcher of contested footballs. And so we knew that, but just him taking the lid off the defense, like this was something special for us today. Terry McLaurin, look, he is the type of player, you know it's coming. He had a huge screen pass in this one, so it was a huge screen, and it was just a great run where he just beat the safety down the field, scores the touchdown. He had 4 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown. But what was huge about his day was his 4th and final catch, because we were literally trying to drive down. We're trying to get a score to really take care of the Detroit Lions. And we had missed on a 3rd down. But literally, if you look at the tape, we go back and run the exact same play. And Terry McLaurin gets a huge catch, gets the 1st down. We end up scoring. I believe it's Jeremy McNichols that runs it in. And Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz, what more can I say about them? I've been talking about them being the X factor throughout the game. I just kept saying, this is why you go out and get your veterans. I felt like Austin Eckler could really win against some of their linebackers and really get out into space. He did a terrific job of doing that once he got the football. 4 receptions for 41 yards. Really, I think it was a lot of body blows to that defense in the interior. Zach Ertz the same way. He came up with a clutch touchdown as well. 5 receptions, 28 yards. And then Jamison Crowder, welcome to the party. We already know as Washington fans, he's been with us before, left to the Jets, came back. He's making plays, 2 receptions, 25 yards. But how about John Bates? I mean, he made a critical catch out of the H-back formation. That pretty much was on that final drive where we were able to go out there and get the touchdown off of that. And so with the running game, what was special about that is we see that B-Rob looked fresh. B-Rob, talking about Brian Robinson Jr., 15 rushes, 77 yards, but 5.1 is the average. And look, man, he continued to gash the Detroit Lions. They were physical runs. I mean, I think that this is probably the best that I have seen from Brian Robinson Jr. since, I don't know, maybe week 3, week 4. And he looked very good today. 2 touchdowns on the day for him. Jayden Daniels continued to get outside the pocket and make plays, 16 carries, 51 yards. But Austin Eckler was huge out of the backfield for us. I mean, 6 carries, 47 yards. He had a huge gain, I think, in the 4th that pretty much wrapped it up. Jeremy McNichols reaches over the goal line and gets a touchdown. And, man, what more can you say? I mean, this was just a terrific win for the Washington Commanders. When we look at some other key stats in this one, we knew coming into this that we are a 4th down team, and 3 of 4 as far as the 4th down efficiency today. Really, the only time that the Detroit Lions really stopped us was that time where we didn't make the conversion on the 4th down, and then out of the start of the second half, I thought that the Washington Commanders maybe really had a chance to put their maybe foot on the gas there if they would have got a score early on, getting the ball back after getting a huge interception by Mikey Sainristil to end the half. But those were the only times that I just note that they were able to stop us. And I really think that this is a shocker because, I think the Detroit Lions, for the most part, what they've been able to do is they've actually been able to bully other teams. They've just been able to line up, kind of push teams out of the way. and teams eventually just kind of fold up. But the Washington Commanders, I think once they got the first turnover in the game, and I'm talking about that fumble recovery from Jared Goff, I said right then and there, I was like, once they stole a possession away from the Detroit Lions and then capitalized on it, it really put pressure onto the Detroit Lions because they were always chasing throughout the game. And so the Washington Commanders, 299 passing yards, 182 rushing yards. We had a 6.6 yards per play. Total plays, we had 73 to their 68. And another key is we did not give up any sacks, and that is huge. Talked about the crowd noise and how electric it is in that building. And so to come on the road, not turn the football over, not give up a sack, and then also to win in the penalties department as well. Like, it was pretty much a clean football game for us. We had 4 for 25 as far as the penalties, but man, that was an outstanding win. And for anybody that did watch the game, how about Joe Gibbs? Joe Gibbs literally looks the same as when I was in grade school. He looks the same as if when he was on the sidelines in 2005 for us. Like, Joe Gibbs, the ageless one, was at the game. So it was good to see. And also, too, Mark Brunell, he's actually the quarterback coach for the Detroit Lions. And he actually was on our team, or was the quarterback when we last won, I think, a playoff game in 2005. But anyway, look, huge win. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from this game some more tomorrow. And then we're also going to be talking about, who's next for the Washington Commanders as they continue to go on. It's a lot of things that are kind of lining up for this team, as this is the first time that this has happened since 1991. And yes, this was the last time that I personally witnessed this team win a Super Bowl. So let's see what happens, and go Commanders. I will see you on the next one. All right. Peace.